Hey everyone! Whoever's here, welcome to the Horror in 24 live show for Black Mouth by Ronald Malfi. I think it's going to just be me and Marcy today discussing this book, which I really enjoyed. And Marcy, how about you?
I loved it.
I did. I really loved it. This is my first Ronald Malfi book, so I don't know. Have you read from him before?
Yes, I've read 3 other books. I know I've read Snow. I've read, oh gosh, I can't remember the two. I'll look it up now, but I've loved all of his books so
Yeah, I,
far.
I think I found a new favorite author. I have to say, I do own a few of his other works, but I just haven't picked them up
Yeah.
because I was intimidated. But I'm
Yes.
glad I picked this up as my first one for sure.
You should give Snow a try in the wintertime. It is like perfect.
Okay, great. I'm gonna add it to my list, my long TBR list.
I know. Never ending. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I've read
exactly.
Come With Me, which was the one before this one, I believe.
Okay.
I read Black Mouth, obviously. I read Snow and then The Night Parade. And they were all like different but atmospheric. I mean, I love them.
Yeah, I felt this book was super atmospheric and I felt the fall vibes for sure. Like Halloween was definitely mentioned
Yeah.
numerous times, so it painted that picture for me.
Yeah.
I heard the night parade is pretty like fall like as well. Is that true or
I can't remember, but you know what? Venture to say yes because his books are just atmospheric.
yeah.
Even I think they're good for any month. They're very versatile in that
Okay.
way.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I'm glad we picked this as September though. That was pretty good. It was a good start to the spooky season for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I
And
loved it.
yeah, so I guess we could just start off like talking about like what we loved about the book first, and
Yeah.
then and I feel like we could just go into spoilers because whoever's here probably already read the book,
Yeah,
and
for
this is a
sure.
live show for a book club, so I don't know what's spoilers and what's not after I read a book. I'm so bad at that. So
Yeah, I'm sharing the live really quick.
okay, yeah, right ahead. I'm so
So
upset that this is my last live show, but I just have no free time anymore. I
I
just can't
know
do
it's
it.
really rough. It's been
Yeah.
really rough lately.
So great. Every time I feel like I have free time, it just goes away. There's no free time.
Yeah, yeah. And then you got to take care of yourself as
Yeah,
well, and take
yeah,
time for yourself.
yeah. Once like if work calms down and stuff like that, I'll have more time. But
Yeah.
I just hate doing it to you guys, like having to cancel and reschedule, and it's just like it's not fair to everybody. So I'd rather
Yeah,
say I can't do it anymore.
I get it. I get it. It's
Yeah,
rough.
it is. So what did you really like? What did you rate this book overall, Marcy?
So I believe I gave it 4 stars.
Okay.
I don't know why it wasn't a 5 stars, because it was all set to be 5 stars, but I don't know. At the end, I really enjoyed it, but it didn't give me that oomph that usually a 5 star does. So
I feel the same way. I did give it a 4 also because I really loved it, but I did feel like at certain points it was a little dragged out, a little too long. It could have been a shorter book
definitely.
and could have read a little bit more like thriller like in a way.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of backstory and which kind of reminded me of Stephen King a little bit. Like
Yeah.
definitely this book reminded me of Stephen King, and that's what a lot of people were saying about it. And then some people were saying that it didn't remind, but I just got such Stephen King vibes from it.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think because I'm a seasoned Stephen King reader that I felt that way,
Yeah.
So but yeah, it was a little bit of everything. A ghost story, like kind of like spooky town vibes,
Yeah.
coming of age story.
Yeah, I love the friendship
Yes.
dynamic as well between the three. Was it three or the four,
Yeah.
including the
Yeah, that's
brother? But oh my gosh, whenever the brother came on, and what was the girl's name?
Mia.
Mia.
Yeah.
Their relationship, I don't know, like I felt it through the pages. The
Yeah,
way
she
she
really
was
took a
with
liking
him.
to Dennis. Like she was, holding him up while Jamie was falling apart.
Yes, yes, and the little necklace. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
so sweet. The macaroni necklace. So cute. I don't know. I just really loved it. I can't even explain to you. Like, I thought that I wasn't going to. When I first started reading it, I was like, I don't know. Like, it
I
was very
remember you
slow in the
saying that.
beginning. And I pushed through and I I read the whole thing in like a day. I sat down and
Yeah.
just like ate it up. So it was really, really good.
Yeah. It was one of those that you just, when you started, you could not stop reading it, in my
Yeah.
opinion, you know?
Yeah, and it's a pretty like lengthy book. Like it's not.
She thick. She
Yeah,
a thick baby.
yeah, it really like reads pretty quickly. A lot of the aspects that I did like about it was the carnival. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And the magician was super creepy.
Oh my gosh. Super
Like
creepy.
so scary. And it's
I
almost
know.
like it definitely reminded me of It, but he was like a little creepier for me. I don't know.
Yeah, he was creepier, and you were always like intrigued to find out more about him. I feel like I would have loved less of our main character's backstory and more on the magician himself.
Right.
Because I feel like we didn't get enough of him. He was just there, and he
He was
was
just there.
obviously, yeah, he was obviously the villain, but we really didn't get to like feel him. But
Exactly.
he creeped me out. I mean, nonetheless, I was just like, I just finished Daphne as well by Josh Malerman, and these two books did one thing for me. I kept going like this over my shoulder when I was washing dishes, because like the house is to my back, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I just felt like something was creeping out
Yeah.
for me.
It definitely was well written with those aspects because I don't know, it was just like it gave me goosebumps. It really
Yeah.
did. And not many books do that for me.
Yeah.
Reading a lot of horror, like you kind of get immune to those feelings.
Yeah.
But this
Yeah.
book kind of brought that back for me, which was nice.
I
and
agree.
also scary at the same time.
I
Like,
agree.
oh my God. But Dennis, I really loved as a character.
Oh,
Oh my gosh. And Clay too. And the only thing I didn't like was how like Clay was portrayed, how they talked about like his vitiligo in like a negative context. But
yeah.
kids are bullies and people are bullies and stuff like that. So I get that. I have a friend that has vitiligo and it's a horrible disease.
It's horrible.
And I like the representation though that the author did put that in a book because you don't really read many books that have that
yeah.
representation as well. So I thought that
I
was
agree.
really interesting. But like I said, there were some mean things being said and I didn't like it. That was only
Yeah, yeah.
thing that I really could say.
And you know what? I didn't like those parts either, I will say. But at the same time, I liked how as an adult we get to see him dealing with kids that look at him weird because of it, and how he just explains it to them and sort of like connects with them through that. I loved seeing that portion. So I feel like we got the bullying, but we also got like very positive sides to it as well.
Yeah, I agree. And how he handled himself
Yeah.
was really good.
Yeah.
And the fact that he helped children and like with the whole like being a therapist type of thing later on in life, I thought that was really cool. And I was really like a little lost though when they were doing, interviewing the kids that were affected by this. I felt like there was lacking a little bit of story on how they were connected to the magician, compared to like we got Jamie's whole point of view the whole time, and a lot of those parts where they were talking about Jamie's alcoholism and things like that, a lot of that was repetitive, and I feel like we could a little bit more as to like the magician and his affecting those other people, through the years, maybe some flashbacks or something like that,
right,
to present day.
I agree.
Yeah, but I don't know, it was a really good ghost story, and
it really was.
And it was creative. I felt like, with the I can't even say hippopotamus. Hippopotamus.
I love it.
Daddy, like stuck with my head. Hippopotamus. You never like see like a hippo represented ever as like a mascot. So that was
that
I have to say.
Yeah, it was. I was like, what's going on? But yeah,
Giving love to the hippos out there.
Oh my gosh.
But I don't know. The story was just really good. It was creative. I liked how everything was kind of brought together at the end, and with the mine, and how you kind of got to see all of that too, with the helmets and the skulls and like the body parts that were still under. It was interesting.
That was crazy. And when you keep going, the kids that were actually there because of the villain, because of the magician,
Yeah.
how that part was so creepy. And when Dennis was like, okay, they're not going to hurt us. And they just went over to like the carousel. It was it was written so well that you could really envision it and like see everything happen. I
Yeah.
don't know. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. It was really cool. It was a really great book, and I would love to know if anyone's in here, like, who didn't like the book. I wanna know, like, why?
Yeah.
Because, like, I understand, like, getting into it was a little of a rough start for me as well, like, I totally get that, but I think it was a really well-written book, and I think more people should pick it up because I think if people enjoy Stephen King and even Ray Bradbury, like, he kind of touched on both authors a little bit, and you could tell they're probably his favorite authors,
Yeah.
by bringing in the carnival, like a something wicked this way comes, and representing like that whole thing. And there was, a being in that book that brought evil, to the kids and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
think that was really cool how he kind of tied in both entities into like the magician, like it was
Yeah.
both qualities into the magician's story.
Yeah. The magician creeped me out, especially because our main character, what's his name? Jamie.
Yes.
He's the one that encounters him first. And just with him bringing him, I know that it was such a not like really explosive scene, but when he just brings him the food and keeps him fed and stuff, I was like, I don't know, that aspect like really creeped me out. I'm like, how kids are just so trusting when they want
Yes.
something. And even when they're not trusting, because he really wasn't fully trusting. He was like, who the hell is this guy? But let me just do this. I
Right.
that part creeps me out. I don't know why.
Yeah, like preying on children and like their vulnerabilities and the magic aspect really drew Jamie in because he was like,
Yes.
I want to learn magic. I
Yes.
need to learn this. Like my life sucks. I
Yeah.
have, parents that are like bad and
Horrible.
I need to figure out my life, definitely was terrifying because children do fall into those traps, and it's scary.
Yeah.
Let's see what Carol. I love the car. Yes. Exactly. He used it as a cover, which is so creepy too. It's like, I don't even wanna ever go to a carnival ever again, to
I
be
know. I know.
honest. Like, I'm gonna be looking for, like, the magician's tent and be like, "I
Yeah.
know what you're up to."
But one thing I did not get, um, well, there was a couple things that I didn't get, but towards the end,
Mhm.
like does he die, the magician?
I don't really know. It was very abrupt.
Yeah, I think that it was just something like, oh, he's not dead, but he's trapped or something. I don't know. I
I
was
guess
very
this is
confused
like
by
an
that.
entity type thing? Like, is it
Yeah.
cosmic? Like he's like a something like, I don't know.
Yeah,
So whoever
that
exists in the mind, in the black
yeah,
mouth?
yeah. And then the second thing was that when Dennis first encounters the magician, they sort of have like an evil and good kind of standoff, right?
Yeah.
You're assuming that it's an evil and good kind of standoff. But I don't know if everybody gets that because I was just thinking about that now. But like while the standoff was going on, I was expecting for there to be some kind of like connection or some kind of explanation as to their butting heads. Was it just the good and evil thing?
Right.
I
I don't
don't.
know. I don't know. There were some loose ends there. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Like, looking back on that, I think I was almost like, what's going on? What's going on here?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I did feel that. Let's see what Bernard says. Small stuff. Felt like the character Stoll should have been introduced earlier. He kind of came out of nowhere halfway through. I agree. I think that was kind of, I don't want to say poor writing, but I just felt like that was thrown in there to just kind of make another connection with the magician. Um, Maybe this book could have been longer like it and like into parts and like, kind of filling in those gaps. But yeah, I agree. Stoll should have been introduced earlier for sure. Cause then
Yeah.
I was like, oh gosh, here comes this guy now. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
The story was flowing so nicely, and then all of a sudden he came in, another bad guy, something.
Yeah.
Um, let's see what Carol says. It's like an evil entity that was using that man's body. The entity continues to survive, I think. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I think it's an entity that continues to survive. The body's dead, but that demon or whatever he is,
Yeah. Huh.
like he sold his soul, saved himself by bargaining with it. Yeah, that could be true as well. I would like
Yeah.
to know more. I wish I had Ronald Malfi here so I could pick his brain.
I know, right?
I
But it was really, it was, I think with this book, the atmosphere just beats everything out. Like
Yes.
the loose ends and everything. You're just like you're okay with just like blowing them off because it
Yeah.
was very enjoyable.
Yeah, it really was enjoyable. And you fall in love with the characters. At the end of the day, I mean, I didn't really love Jamie as much as enjoyed Mia and Clay and Dennis. Jamie was a very dull character for me, and he kind of brought the story together because he's the main character. But I wanted to know more about everybody else. Like every
Yeah.
time Dennis was on the page or Mia was on the page, I wanted to know. Like I was really interested in what was going on.
Yeah, I think it's just because Jamie got so played out and so repetitive because
Yeah.
of his drunkenness and like his detox episode, and then he starts drinking again, and it was like this back and forth thing, which actually shows what an alcoholic goes through inside. But I think it was like overly done to where we were like, okay, you're boring.
Right. Well, because the other part of the story was just so much more interesting
Yeah.
that I just didn't really care about what was happening to him. And then even when he got that phone call from that girl and then he called her sponsor and like I know that's how like it works, but it's just
Yeah.
like we didn't really need that. We didn't
No,
really
we didn't. We
that
didn't.
part. It was like a setup for a sequel with the evil entity when Jamie mentions a vision of a creature with many faces. Oh, could have been Stoll. Could have been. Wow.
Oh,
That's really good actually. I didn't even think about that.
yeah, it is.
Okay. And then Carol agreed.
Oh, I thought that was Carol that oh my gosh.
Me
I am
too.
like so out of it right now. I'm like, wait, what's going on?
This is where it really reminded me of It by King, an entity with many faces, a mouth filled with another universe. Yeah, yeah, that's how I felt too when reading it for sure. It was
I
definitely like that cosmic horror
yeah.
feel.
I also like that they sort of blended the Slender Man. What is it? Slender Man or Slender Men?
Slender Man. Single.
The Slender Man story into it. I thought that was pretty cool, and like it gave it like an extra creep factor because I
Yeah.
don't know why that
Slenderman scares the crap out of me. I don't know about anyone else.
me
That really
too.
gets me. I don't know.
It's so dark. Like I think
So
about it, it's just dark to me. And so that's what this felt like as well.
Mhm.
And especially when they mention it, I'm like, oh man, you just loved it.
Yeah, yeah. It just really set the tone even
Yeah.
further than where it was at.
Yeah. Oh,
Bernard said it reminded him of Slender Man. Yeah, it really did. I think it was a great book to like honor the horror genre.
yes.
It was probably fun for him to write as well because he incorporated a lot of probably his favorite stories into one book.
Yeah. And it works.
And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. It was very creative. It wasn't like rewritten or it was very original,
Yeah.
but with a few nods to some really great stories that we all love.
Yeah. The part that I loved was when we find out what happened between Stoll and the brother or whatever his name was.
Bibby?
Yeah, it was Bibby, but I think he had another name too. Like, did he
Robert?
rename himself or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really loved that story, although like I really didn't feel like the Bibby ghost. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was a good touch, but it was just I don't know, it was missing something. Like to me, like the kid was supposed to be 7 when he killed him, right? Or something like that.
They were like 7 or 10 or something.
Bibby to me felt like a 3-year-old little boy. It
Yeah.
was weird.
Yeah. Well, I felt like he had no voice. Like I wasn't like there was no voice there, so I pictured him much younger.
Yeah, like very
I felt like there was no voice, but he was his twin. So
yeah, it was his twin, but he just seemed very oh man, like playful, if that makes sense, which
yeah,
made him seem younger than the 7 or 8 or 10, however old they were
Yeah.
So that was sort of like a clash for me. I was like, wait, he just felt really, really young.
Yeah.
But I loved hearing the story, even though you expected, I loved hearing the story, how he ended up killing the brother, and the way he does it.
Oh,
So
it's brutal.
yeah,
It's brutal.
with no kind of emotions, no, like a psycho.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like Dahmer. He's a Dahmer.
Oh my gosh. Oh my.
Let's see what Megan has to say. I decided to listen to this on my walks. I just so happened to walk to my local cemetery because it's close and lots of hills. While I was so in the story, I didn't hear another person walk up next to me. Oh my God. Well, that will creep you out.
She continues in the other one. She said hi and I jumped so bad. That would have creeped me out too. You were brave for listening to that on a walk.
Yeah.
Because I was inside my house like this.
Carol said I loved him being haunted by his brother. I did love that aspect.
Yeah.
But I think going back to like what we were saying before, feeling that Stoll should have been introduced earlier. I think if we had alternating, like we had the past from Jamie's perspective and how he met the magician. And I think if we had some of that from Stoll's perspective as well, almost like them both
like
sharing
a linear
the main character story, then maybe it kind of just would have flowed a little bit better towards the middle of the book. And then, they could have had their little standoff then and creating a So, but I did love how Dennis could see ghosts. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
When he saw Bibby,
he said he did see Bibby at the carnival. Yeah.
He did. So.
Yeah, so like the reason why I was saying that about his brother, how I felt he was younger, was because when I believe it's when Stoll kills for the first time in the book that lady that was outside on the phone.
Oh yeah.
And he says something like, and Bibby's behind me and I could feel his erection.
Yeah.
And then I pictured him like a 3-year-old. I was like, this is not this is not working right now.
Yeah, that I think was like I remember reading that and being like, wait, what?
It like threw me so off.
It doesn't add anything to what was happening. Like I don't think it was necessary to be
nothing, because he really wasn't a bad kid when he was young either.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Agreed. Yeah, he just had a lot of hatred for his mother and he took it out on his brother, and his brother didn't really do anything to help it either. Yeah. And he killed everyone by smashing their face, just like how his face was smashed. That's kind of messed up.
I know.
Poor thing. Sad. But yeah, I will say I really felt for the characters. I really enjoyed reading about them and their story, except for Jamie's. I was so like, I just kept being like, oh, because Dennis was really interesting because of his like situation, and he was really involved in like the darkest part, like with the mother and everything like that. Like he was there when she was dead in the house, and
oh my gosh, wasn't that insane? Yeah, I think it was like a week that he was in the house living with her.
Yeah, which is so sad, and it's kind of like Norman Bates-ish, but like at the same time, he didn't know what to do. Like, how would he know what to do? He couldn't do anything.
Exactly.
Stoll was a well-developed serial killer type character for sure. And that's why, like you said before, I wish he was introduced earlier. I think he would have been really interesting to follow a little bit longer throughout the story. And he was a good target for the entity for sure. Yeah, because he was so dark and so far gone. Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have much else to say. I read it so long ago. I'm shocked that I even remember it. That's how you know I really enjoyed it, is that I still remember it like 3 weeks later from reading.
Yeah. And you know what? With me, it's like a different effect because I had forgotten a lot. As I'm talking, I remember more and more. But before the live, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say about this book other than I remember really enjoying it and really thinking, why are people bashing it so much? But it's understandable. It is a slow book. I think we just love slow books. And that's why we love Stephen King so much. We love wordy, atmospheric kind of books.
Yeah.
And so little by little, I've been remembering, but I finished this, I think it was last week.
Okay.
And I'm still drawing blanks with parts of the story.
Yeah. Well, there definitely were certain parts of the story that I found myself kind of like, or I would switch on and off from the audio to the book just to
Yeah.
kind of get a little bit more read.
Yeah.
And then towards like the middle, I just like sat down and read the whole thing because I just got really into it. But
Physically?
yeah,
Yeah.
physically.
I listened to the audiobook the
I
whole
have
time.
I have a better time, like, reading it physically than, like, listening to audiobooks. I try with the audiobooks, but for some reason, I don't remember what I've
Yeah,
I visually can, absorb it more than listening to it.
that is true. Yeah.
It's a little bit easier for me to do it that way, but, yeah, I just really enjoyed the book. There's really not much else that I could really say about it, but I
Yeah.
think it's a great horror book, and I would say it's kind of thrilling, but if you want a character-driven book, that's really what it is. I wouldn't say it's too slow burn, it's just character-driven, which a lot of people don't enjoy that. They want, like, crazy plot right off the bat, but
Yeah.
I like that world building and character building
Development. Yeah.
and all
Same.
of that. That's just what I like because I like Stephen King, I guess
Yeah.
that's why I like books like that, and I
Yeah.
enjoy reading a lot of fantasy books too, which are kind of the same way, like building the world, building the
Yeah. The
characters,
characters.
and
Yeah.
then in book 5, that's when things happen, so,
Yeah. Yep.
I enjoy that. Let's see. Started off first person limited, but it turned into an omnipresent ended up being more yes, it was definitely more than Jamie's story, but there was a whole chunk of Jamie's story in the beginning that's what made me feel that, I don't know if I'm gonna love this because it's very much just Jamie and then there's like spooky shit going on, but Jamie has problems.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure where it was gonna go, but a lot more characters got introduced later on, and then I fell in love with the book. So
Yeah. I think that I got like gripped by at the beginning because of Dennis and how he was found, kind of
yes.
like, walking sort of out of it. And then the mother situation. And I was like hooked. I'm like, what is going to happen here?
Yeah. Yeah, and that barn was spooky and like very
When
creepy.
we find out how he kills his dad,
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I was like, he deserves it.
Yeah, he deserves it, but whoa, okay.
It was a lot. I was like, wow, because he
Yeah.
was young.
Yeah, a lot of trauma, these kids, a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. So, I mean, I don't know how much more we could talk about the book, but like, what have you been reading recently, Marcy? Like, what's on your spooky TBR this month?
Oh man, I have a lot of good stuff. I'm actually working on my October TBR, which should be fingers crossed, should be posted tomorrow because I have been slacking in the posting department on
Yeah,
YouTube.
it's so
But
bad.
I two books that I know for sure that I'm going to read. I mean, for sure on all of them, but these are just ones that I have here because I posted about them the other day. Is
Mhm.
Night in the Lonesome October by Richard Layman.
Oh my gosh, I want to read that.
Yeah, everybody says how good it is, and I'm like excited. I tried reading it was Island. I tried reading that in the summertime,
Mhm.
and while I loved it, I sort of put it down because I just wasn't in a physical like reading. All of the books that I've read in last month and this month have all been audiobooks because I don't have the mental like capacity to just sit there and physically read. I can't. And then the next one is The Long Shadows of October by Christopher Triana. I know these two for sure. I want to read this month. I think you're frozen. I don't know if this is still showing up live, but I cannot hear anything. Can you hear me, Carol, or is it all gone? Oh, oh, okay, yeah, here. And so she's gone. I think her internet might have gone. And I have no way of turning this off, I don't think. So I'm just going to be here entertaining you. I don't know what to do. Let me see if I can message. And y'all just heard my husband sneeze, so I'm sorry about that. We're having technical difficulties. So her power got shut off because it's like raining really hard over there, and the Wi-Fi got knocked out and her power. So I don't know how we're going to do your life forever. Wow, that will be the horror story of the year. I can't end it. Maybe she could do it from her phone. I guess so I could tell you what else I'm reading while she tries to get back on. I know for sure I also want to read The Traveling Vampire Show by Richard Layman. That's another one that I want to read. I want to finish Salem's Lot by Stephen King finally. It's been a couple years. And I'm ready to finally finish the book. And then I want to read Fairy Tale because I haven't yet. And the rest of the books are for readathons, and they're over there. I know that I want to read some middle grade horror for the Bookathon, and that's like a middle grade horror readathon that's coming up on the 10th, I think. And then what else am I going to participate in? I know, man. And I can't believe that I got so affected by that part in Salem's Lot that I still haven't picked it up, but I am going to because I'm really interested and I'm curious to see what happens. Oh, Bernard, yeah. It's not stormy here. I wish it was though. And then, yeah, and that's it. Oh, and then I'm going to be participating in the Camp Weekend Ween. And also the horror-a-thon that's ran by Ashley. So I have a bunch of books on my TBR for the month. I don't even know how we're going to shut this off. Who's even on here? Is it just you two? Oh my gosh, so many. I talk about that on my TBR because I kind of feel bad that I don't participate in some of them, you know, because like, you know, everybody in the community and you want to like support with the readathons, but if I try to do all of them, I'm just going to burn myself out. So I picked the 3 and those are the ones, the 3. Yeah. And those are the ones I'm sticking to, but there's the Camp Crystal Lake that was ran by Barb's. I wanted to participate, but that one's like month long and it's just too much. I wanted to participate in Stabathon, which I think just happened, or that Hollow Weekend. I think you participated in that one, Carol, the Hollow Weekend, or I don't even know the name of it. So many to participate in, but I can't do that to myself. Many years, or like in the past years, I would have been like, I'm going to participate in all of them. And I would have like shuffled and like played bingo with them. But I'm just so burnt out from doing that I just can't. Yep, exactly. Camp Weekend Weed. I'm so excited for that one. I don't think we've picked what we're going to read next. We were sort of kind of trying to figure out what was going to happen with Horror in 24. Crystal just said that she's like been busy and stuff. And so she's not going to be able to continue. Yay! I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about for here, like, and for how long, but let's do it.
Of course, like, you know, Storm just knocks out my stuff while I'm in the middle of speaking. It's very nice. Mother Nature loves me.
My gosh, that's horrible.
So what were you guys talking about while I was gone?
So Bernard was asking what's Horror in 24 reading next. And I was just telling him that we didn't know, what the situation was, what was going to happen. So we haven't picked a book, but we'll keep you guys in the loop to see what will happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I would love to still be like incorporated in Horror in 24's book club. I just feel like planning live shows for me have been really hard. And I hate canceling on the girls all the time. So I think the best thing is like if I'm around, I'll hop on. If that's the case. But it's just kind of hard for me to like plan out in advance. But I still want to be a part of the, book club in a certain way if I can,
Yeah, for sure.
This was like my baby when like COVID hit. Yeah. And then now I'm back to work full time. And
I know.
So
I remember we started with oh my gosh, we started with the 24-hour readathon.
Yeah, exactly. It was me and you. We did that. That was fun. On a whim. And that was during COVID times where we all had a lot of time. So things get hard. People have families and husbands now. Yeah. And he's like a toddler in itself.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we will keep you all updated, and we just have to like really sit down and talk about it, because I don't mind picking up live shows. Yeah, I'm sure Carol, with Gunner, I'm sure it's hard for her, but I don't mind picking up the live shows, and whenever you can, Yeah, like if you're in the mood to read the book, I don't want to
like cancel on anyone and like reschedule. So I'm around. If I'm not, I'm not. But I'll still be around for book club and things like that.
And like reading tastes change. Like it just happens, and so sometimes we have to step back and read what our heart wants to read. And sometimes it's not like books that are just set. Sometimes when our TBRs are set, that sort of like puts us in a slump. And I think we lost her again. We should have just cut the live. The beast tamed. I don't know what we're going to do now. Oh, man. Let me see if she sends a message. Oh, there I am, live and big on the screen for you guys. Hopefully we can get this sorted out. The Jeopardy. Oh, this is insane. So tell me what you guys are reading, so at least we can have like some kind of conversation going on here. I just finished Daphne by Josh Malerman, and I really okay. There we go. Maybe we should cut this before.
Because I can't like. I don't want to go. Sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. This is insane. Shouldn't be happening.
It's okay. There's a storm outside. You have like no control of that.
I know. I have the candles lit over here too, but now we have lights, so that's good.
Cool. But maybe we should cut it before you get knocked out again.
Fast, guys. But we'll keep you updated on the Horror in 24 Instagram of everything that's going on, and the Discord group is still existent as well. So if you're not following that, make sure you follow the Discord. I may be a little bit more present in there. If I can't, go on live shows, I'll try to get in there a little bit more. But yeah, so that's it. Thanks for sticking around with all my craziness here. But thanks for reading with us. It was so much fun. And I'm so glad that we picked this book. Yeah. I loved it.
Same.
And thank you, Marcy, for being
you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.